the coach does. But then you get a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and you start picking and choosing what works for you. Is that kind of the case for you? Or?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's I think like you say, I think age and experience kind of fall into that a little bit. So you kind of, I think when you're a bit younger, do what you need to do, do the work, listen to the coach. At that time, they're the one with the experience. They know how things kind of work. And you're still trying to find your feet. And one way to do that is to sort of just experience things, to work hard, work your ass off kind of thing, and see how you go with that. See how you go with the work. But the important thing is to then reevaluate. So you need to be looking critically at what you're doing. Obviously, when you're younger, you don't have the experience to be able to go, oh, well, this worked, this didn't, until you're a bit older. But that's the points in time where you really need to be developing, I guess, that strategy and kind of understanding what works for me. What am I responding well to? What do I enjoy? What kind of sets do I actually like doing? What kind of ways do I enjoy punishing myself? Because, not everyone's going to be the same. And ultimately, you need to be able to work hard. I mean, everyone can just say, oh, well, I like when I've got the easy sessions, but ultimately, you're not going to get anywhere doing that. So it's more about, finding those things that work, finding the training that works. I had a lot of, I went through a few changes over my sort of more professional career in those 8 years on the swim team. Initially started with John Fowley at the AIS, and that was certainly a very like hard work program, more I guess more directed by the coach. Then I moved to Tracy Menzies, which became a bit more collaborative, a bit more flexibility there. As I was a bit older, I'd been on a few teams, was starting to kind of develop myself as a professional athlete in that way. And then towards the end of my career, moving to Simon Cusack as well, who had a different sort of approach, and an approach that I suppose I'd found I was feeling would work well for me. So then, kind of changing coaches on the context of, look, someone's doing that over there, that looks like what I want to do. So falling then into that program, and then finally towards the very end of my career with Ashley Callis, who was another 2000 Sydney Olympic gold medal winning swimmer, and great coach as well. And again, moving to that very collaborative sort of, well, look, this is how I think this will work, and then a much more of a partnership there in that sort of last phase when I was quite a bit older. I say quite a bit older, but ultimately I was 25, I think, at the time. So it's not even that old really when you think about it. But on my eighth year of being a member of the Australian swim team, so when you look at it in that context, certainly a lot more experience there. And then that worked, really well as well. So I had great success with all four of those coaches over the course of my career, in various ways. So they all work, but just in different ways. And I think that's the challenge ultimately. And that's where things like these kinds of conversations help. Looking at other people, what they're doing, kind of trying to gather a bit more information about yourself and the kind of athlete that you are, and the kind of things that work well for you. Because obviously there's no one formula. There's obviously, even at the AIS, there's this mentality of like the kind of silver bullet. It's all about this training way, this is the thing, everyone's looking for that, the thing, the thing that makes the Olympic gold medalist, the thing that makes the champion. It's always like, this is just one thing, and it just isn't. It's not one thing, it's a whole host of different things, and it's always different for everybody. If I tried to train like, Eamon Sullivan, I wouldn't have been as successful as I was if I was doing the exact same thing that Eamon was doing. If I was doing, tried to do what Michael Phelps did in between 2004 and 2008, where he was in the water every single day for 4 years, and training like that, I would have burnt out. I just don't have the capacity to kind of do that level of training physically. I know that I would have just shut down. My body wouldn't have been able to cope. I would have had problems with injury and all kinds of things. Not to mention the mental side of it too. But that worked for him. That was his thing, and that was his motivator too. He talks about it in his book about how doing that training every day gave him 6 months work more training than everybody else. So it's so variable. It's you can't sort of make you can't make a champion. There's no formula for it. It's really a host of different factors, and it's really about finding what works for you. Forming your own path, I suppose, is the best way to say it. Forging your own path.
Totally. And I guess that journey as becoming more of a mature athlete, that builds more self-awareness, and then you can do these different things. And that's why over the years we've always been able to, it's been great being able to talk to you about this, because you can really, it's a journey of self-awareness comes through consistent and ongoing reflection. And I think as an elite athlete, you've got to continually do that. But also, if you want to be, grow personally in all areas of life, that may even be in your relationship, family, friends, and all these different things. It's that continual journey. And it is quite a stoic philosophy, and you quoted some stoic